let's look at economic cycles. Economic cycle is the fluctuation of the economy between periods of expansion and contraction. So as this chart here suggests, that economy will move in different stages. So it will expand in good times and it will contract in bad times. And when it reaches the peak, and it will start to decline. And on the opposite side, when it reaches its trough, it starts to recover. And we have some measures of economic activity and economic stages. So it is usually measured by the gross domestic product, or GDP, of a country or of a region. And there are some other macroeconomic factors such as employment rates, consumer spending, and interest rates. So we use those indicators to measure whether how the economy moves in cycles. So first, let's look at the US GDP, and you can use the GDP of other countries for example as well. So this is the chart from the Federal Reserve, and starting all the way back to the 1940s to 2022. So as you see here, the gray bar on this chart represent economic recessions. So from time to time, there will be economic recession. And definition of economic recession is that there will be 2 consecutive quarters where the real GDP is not increasing. In other words, it's declining. So this happens every so often, right? In 1970s, 80s, and then year 2000s. And the latest one we see is in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, let's look at the US employment rate. So this is the US employment rate for adults aged between 15 and 64, and its percentage, and it's also seasonally adjusted. As you see here, the employment rate for adults can go up and down, then move in cycles. When economy is soft, is in recession, and the employment rate will start to decline. And then after recession, employment slowly start to pick up until the next recession. So this moves up and down in cycles. And the worst unemployment rate happened during 2020, the global pandemic. The next one here is the real personal consumption expenditure. So this is the percent change from preceding period. So it measures household and personal spending. So I think it's quite intuitive to see here is that when economy is strong, consumers become confident, so therefore they tend to increase their spending. And when economy is in recession, everyone become very conservative. They tend to save for the future, right? So they tend to lower their spending. So as you see here, this also move along this line, which is neutral line, 0, right? So it can be up and down. And during the recession times, the personal consumption expenditure will drop compared with the previous season. And the last one here is the interest rate. Here we use the Federal Fund effective rate to measure interest. And the interest rate also follow a pattern, because this is one of the most useful instruments for central banks to help make decisions and to react to the economy. So when economy is strong, is in the development, the central banks tend to increase interest rate to help fight for inflation. And when economy is in recession, then the central banks will lower the interest rate to help generate more liquidity in the market, for the market to help the market recover. So this is economic cycles and its indicators.